What are you doing?
I want to see it again.
You want burgers, hot dogs, some chicken, and ribs? Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
So I thought, to celebrate our hero of the road today,
Hero of the
our
road.
drifter serial killer, Henry Lee Lucas, I thought maybe I just wouldn't shower for like a week to kind of get the feel down, get the authenticity in here, try to make our studio smell more like bacon, eggs, and butt leavings. Is that what you would call it? Just like old crust bum on the road is what the smell I'm going for here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't smell it.
Damn it. Okay. I think
Because I quit.
you're like, I'm out. You're not taking showers now. We don't have to get that authentic.
No.
I think that you get even more authentic. I have to go through so much bad fucking luck in my early childhood and so many brain damaging hits to the head. And I think mercury and cadmium poisoning and all sorts of shit.
Yeah. And you have no childhood trauma.
No, not at all. So
What the fuck? I hate you.
I know. Everybody usually does with that. Anyway, so you may be wondering why we're talking all weird about killers and all that kind of shit. It's True Crime Month. And hopefully you caught last week's episode where we kind of went over a few killers and stuff like that. Kind of introed everybody into what we're doing this week. So this week, I didn't introduce the show.
Nope, not at all.
Why do I keep dropping the ball on this shit? Anyway, what you clicked on here is is Night of the Horror File, and welcome. And this is a podcast where I take a horror movie and have my beautiful wife, I forgot to say beautiful last week, beautiful wife, Brittany, watch them, and she kind of gives us our read because she has seen nothing.
Nothing. Well,
So,
about 90 movies now.
yeah, I was
so.
going to say we're hitting on like 93 episodes, I think.
Yeah.
So we're doing good now. We're doing good now. But what did we watch this week?
Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer.
That's right, from 1986. And of course, this week's killer is Henry Lee Lucas. So
Obviously.
Yeah, but and Otis Toole, though. We're going to talk a little bit about Otis as well. So what we have here, though, is one of the most surreal horror movies that I think you've seen in a while, right?
Yeah.
It's not quite a horror film, actually. I don't know if it could stay just in the general horror area, even though it is kind of freaky. But it's indeed more of a portrait, like the title suggests. It's not your typical serial killer flick either. Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer was the first movie to be banned by the MPAA. Well, okay, essentially. And I don't know if it's the first, but okay. They slapped.
See, you're making shit up.
No, I'm talking real here. But what they did was they slapped this thing with an X rating and said John McNaughton could trim as much as he wanted to, but the film would stay rated X.
Oh, wow.
And this is before the times of NC-17. Shot on 16 millimeters with shot on 16 millimeter with a budget of $110,000. Strangely, you may be wondering why such a low fucking budget, right?
Because they Poe.
Well, that too. But strangely, Henry actually got its start as a documentary about the Chicago wrestling scene.
Oh, that's weird.
Didn't think I was going to go there, did you?
No.
The producers, Malik B. Ali and Waleed B. Ali, hired John McNaughton to direct a documentary. See, McNaughton had been working for them on their video equipment rental business and drove around the rental truck and stuff like that. So he was on board. So the trouble began when the Ali's found a collection of wrestling footage to use. They brokered the deal with the owner, but the last minute, the guy turned around and increased the price.
Oh no.
Oh my, from what I heard, almost doubled it. And the problem was they already had gotten financing in place to do this. So they got to do something with that money, right? So they used that $110,000, handed it over to John McNaughton to make a horror film with lots of blood. Because, as we know, horror films turn a profit most of the time. It doesn't matter what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time. McNaughton knew the budget was way too low to make anything involving monsters or aliens. And after seeing a 2020 episode on Henry Lee Lucas, he decided to make a movie about a serial killer. So without further ado, let's dive into Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer.
So this starts with me sacrificing you to the serial killer gods.
I'm really surprised that you have a new one each episode. You have a new way to kill me each episode.
I've been thinking about it.
No, you've got all these. I wonder how long we could go. But this entire movie is loosely based on Henry Lee Lucas, first of all. I should probably get that out of the way. And even goes out of its way to explain that when the movie starts rolling. I mean, we have the little intro that says this is loosely, it basically lays it out that this is not factual. This is not 100% fact. But I think that's why today's feature does get a pass for not adhering to the facts or events in real life. And in fact, the movie gets a pass by fans and true crime aficionados alike, because as the movie explains, it's more based on the confessions and more about the idea and myth Henry created about himself, as he confessed to over... The number always changes,
right?
About the people, and I think you heard that today because I was kind of brushing up on, because I was like, "Is anybody have a general number?" There is not a general number. Like you'll hear people say 600, right? He confessed to over 600 crimes. Then you'll hear 300. Then you'll hear some people 250. I don't know why 250, but it goes up and down, and we'll kind of talk about it at the end because I mean Henry was full of shit. He smelled like shit and he was full of shit. And during his drifting days, I mean, we know he killed his mother.
Right.
We have that. That's been corroborated. But we know he killed his mother. That's a fact. But as far as the other people, I think he eventually got charged for a dozen or so murders, which is a good number. I mean, come on. He's still got that number up, but he may have only killed 11. And some people write that he may not have killed anybody. Like, who knows?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so who honestly knows? And he's dead now, thank God. But we do know he killed his mother. But, we're not going to debate about how many people he killed. It's definitely not in the 600s. And I'll explain why he confessed later on, why he kept confessing to crimes, even though it didn't make any sense. We'll talk about that. And, okay, so if you didn't listen to last week's episode, some people do skip those casual episodes. What we talked about going forward this month is the layout's going to be a little different. See, typically we focus more on the making of this movies with what I talk about. And obviously we're going to have the same inappropriate humor throughout. But like Brittany usually walks us through the movie and stuff. And that's kind of how it goes. This week we're kind of mixing like facts about the serial killer. We're going to talk about Henry Lee Lucas and Otis Toole. But also we are going to talk about the making of the movie, but not to such an in-depth place.
Okay.
Like if you really want to learn about this movie, you can pick up the DVD. It has commentaries by John McNaughton, who directed this. You can go watch the episode of The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob. They lay everything out. He even interviews John McNaughton so you can learn in depth about how this movie was made and stuff. What?
You farted.
My bad. I think I pulled a Rudy Giuliani.
Oh no.
Oh, anyway, so hopefully you guys didn't hear that. But so let's go ahead and get into the movie.
Yeah, you're gonna let me talk now?
Yes, madam.
Okay. So we get this cool pan out shot of a naked woman that's been killed and left like in the woods or in the grass or something. Yeah. Nothing spectacular.
We've seen this before.
Right. Then we meet Henry. He's in a diner eating and buying a pack of cigarettes. It shows him going to his car. And then it takes us back to the diner and the two waitresses are dead. And throughout this movie, I'm just going to touch on it barely. throughout this movie, when you see somebody that's dead, you hear like what had happened.
Yeah, you hear like the murder happening in real time, but you're seeing the aftermath on screen.
Right.
And they do this with, I think, a lot of the deaths in this movie.
Yes.
You don't actually see Henry killing very many people.
No.
Like very few. The prostitute scene later on, we see that.
Right.
But like, and that's what kind of sets this movie apart from other movies coming out around 1986. Now,
I agree.
Well, also, this movie was actually, I think, made in 84 or 85, and it sat around until it got a distributor because this thing was bouncing back and forth and nobody wanted to handle it because we'll talk about it, but it was rated, it had that NC-17 or rated X on it. I mean, nobody wanted to carry this thing. So first off, Henry is played amazingly by Michael Rooker. Most listeners will know him as Merle from The Walking Dead, Mallrats, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Slither, which is an amazing movie, among other awesome films in his career. Here, Rooker plays Henry Lee Lucas, and he stayed in character through most of the filming.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, even having his own dressing room to keep him separate from everybody. They said he kept this up so long that his wife was pregnant, but she didn't tell him until after he was done doing the movie.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so he didn't get to learn that. So she did that so he wouldn't learn it as Henry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's
weird.
crazy.
Not a lot of people give Michael Rooker the credit he really deserves. He's an excellent fucking actor.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, he's so good. Now, Henry in this movie is pretty far from the real life Henry Lee Lucas. Henry Lee Lucas was a drifter, and he wasn't the brightest crayon in the box, so to speak. Lucas was born in a one-room log cabin in Blacksburg, Virginia, basically the hell center of the world, to a 50-cent prostitute and a legless alcoholic aptly nicknamed No Legs. Because
Wow.
he had no legs. And he got around by use of a cart and a broom.
What?
That he pushed himself around in and would go support his family by selling pencils at the roller rink.
And then the mama brought 50 cents home.
Yeah, 50 cents. Which, a well-rounded number. You don't want a 5-cent hooker.
Oh, my God.
50 cents is pretty good,
I guess.
Get 50 cents to fuck. I imagine Henry Lee Lucas's mother as just the worst possible human being in the world.
Well, we know that.
And we'll talk about it. And it's not because she was a prostitute. That's not even the deal. It's just the stuff she did to poor Henry as he was growing up.
Oh.
But there's a story. Oh, shit. There's a story they tell of his father. So his father was an alcoholic for the longest time, right? And how he lost his legs was he fell asleep on a train track.
Nice.
And like a hot knife through butter, it just sliced his fucking legs off. And so he was cart ridden. And
What?
oh, why couldn't they get this poor man a wheelchair?
Maybe they couldn't afford it.
I guess. I don't know. 50 cents to fuck. Anyway, but so. Oh, God. We'll get to more of Viola, Henry's mother, here in a little bit. But his mother was insanely abusive. And his life is pretty much a recipe for serial killer soup.
I agree.
His whole life. Like I said, he at the top of the hour or top of the show, he had head injury after head injury. They lived in a part where the water was poisoned, so he was getting lead poisoning and all sorts of fucked up shit. But yeah, his life and Otis's Tool's life is just, this is how you make a serial killer. You could sit there and look.
Right.
And what's funny is when you talk to true crime aficionados and stuff like that, they kind of look at his story, his life story. It's kind of boring to them because it is literally beat by beat, just generically how you make a serial killer.
Right, because there's like certain factors that they have found that that correlate with most serial killers. A lot of them are like head injuries, killing animals as children.
Well, he did all that.
Abuse from the mother mostly. Because they have some weird mother issues.
And Henry was also dabbling in incest with his brothers or or his half brothers and stuff like that, and cousins, fucking his cousins.
Nice.
He was fucking animals out on the field and shit like that. There's a story they tell about how he had a squirrel on his dick one day, and he cut its throat to have it jump around while it was on there. So, what do you call? Is that a Disney fleshlight? Is that what you call?
Ew. Ew.
I'm going to warn you guys. You have not seen dark humor, but True Crime Month is going to bring it out of us because this is going to be the worst possible episodes ever as far as comedy goes.
Oh my gosh.
But no, he did that. Speaking of his mother and how abusive she was, he had this donkey that he had on their land.
He was fucking the donkey?
No, well, he probably was fucking the donkey, but it was his bestest friend, right? Loved this donkey. And sometimes I kind of imagine like stupid Henry out in the fields. Donkey, you're my bestest friend.
Now let me fuck you one more time.
Now hang on, Henry. You ain't got to fuck me. Hang on. I'm your friend. Now I'm your friend. But anyway, his mom got pissed off at this fact and went out and grabbed her shotgun and went and shot this fucking thing in the face and then beat Henry because she had to pay somebody to haul it off.
Oh.
So, just a view into what a wonderful person this lady was.
What a delightful lady.
Oh, she's a monster. But he was also one-eyed, having lost his eye when it got infected. And his mother, of course, refused to get it taken care of. She just let it crust over and droop and get nasty.
You had to say crust like that?
Oh, it was gross. They said he would weep like this greenish liquid and shit like that. And he is just a mess. And he didn't lose it at first, though. He still had his eye until one day the teacher was throwing a ruler at one of the kids, like sitting near Henry. And of course, the ruler missed the kid entirely and stabbed Henry right in the fucking bad eye.
Oh, no.
And that's how he lost his goddamn eye.
Oh, gross.
Which, fuck. The luck on him. It's just fucking not good. So I do want everyone to just take a second and look up a picture of Henry Lee Lucas.
I ain't doing it. You can't pay me enough.
Because you have to compare it to Michael Rooker here because Michael Rooker is goddamn handsome.
What?
We're going to talk about, through these movies, we're going to talk about the casting choices. And, well, first of all, I don't even know if you could cast someone to look exactly like Henry Lee Lucas because that man looked like old semen, old cigarette butts floating in coffee, just all swooshed together into a big burning pubic hair of a person. That's what Henry Lee Lucas looked like.
Okay. That's very descriptive.
Yeah, right? Just the smell. You can just smell him when you look at the pictures.
So did he not shower or something?
No, never. He never bathed. I'll tell you a story about the one day he came to school clean, which is not a good story.
Oh, God.
It involves his mother.
Oh, God.
Oh, fuck. But yeah, get you a picture of Henry Lee Lucas and just imagine this as we're talking about the movie here.
So the next scene is a hotel room with blood everywhere and the phone ringing. There's a dead woman in the bathroom with a bottle through her face. And then we get another shot of a woman that has been drowned in a pond.
Now, all these scenes of Henry's victims in these early parts of the film were based on real murders, Lucas confessed to. Now, I mentioned this movie was in limbo for a while, before it came out. Another reason besides the rating thing and it not being carried, one of the reasons was the studio assumed McNaughton was making a straightforward 80s slasher. That's what they had in mind. In fact, the screenplay was much more brutal and bloody than this, which, surprise, surprise,
Oh, wow.
and read more like a typical horror flick that was popular in the mid to late 80s. So they were shocked at what McNaughton had filmed, which is a much less violent and more cerebral horror flick. McNaughton would say, he's like, it looked like they were throwing up when they said, you made an art film. It's just an art film. Because it is.
Yeah.
Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer is more artistic than your normal 1986 is when this finally came out.
Right.
This is more artful than your normal movies because around 1986, I think we had part 6 of Friday the 13th at that point.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so like already the violence and stuff was just starting to get kind of cartoonish in these movies.
Right.
So are you smelling it yet? You smelling Henry?
No.
Oh God. But that's what makes this movie scary. It does have some very brutal scenes, but it relies on atmosphere and just these really creepy. Those scenes are just really creepy.
Oh yeah.
They're not very disturbing. I mean, maybe the house invasion scene we'll get to. That's a little disturbing, but I mean, for the most part, it's just these little long takes.
Little long takes.
Well, yeah, okay, not little. Don't make fun of me. But it's these long takes that he does that are uninterrupted, and they're beautifully shot and stuff. And it's just, it just gives you the fucking heebies.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The victim in the weeds or the swamp or whatever that is at the beginning, she's posed exactly how they found one of his unidentified victims, known as Orange Socks, according to the socks she was wearing.
Oh yeah.
I believe that victim got identified, or they have a theory on who it might be. But yeah, so I mean, basically, like, to give you a true idea of who Henry was and how he committed his crimes, first of all, he didn't really have a reason besides he just wanted to.
Right.
So he picked up this girl, he raped her, then he killed her, then he raped her again.
Nice.
Because we'll talk about
Why
it.
did I say that?
Why did you talk about
it? God.
Damn.
What the fuck?
I told you guys this week, this is going to be a rough month for some people. They're going to get a glimpse.
I'm so sorry. That's so...
They're going to get a glimpse. I just mentioned necrophilia, and I was being serious. And you're like, nice.
That's not what I meant. Oh my God, that was terrible. I'm so sorry.
God.
I don't know what I meant. It just came out. Okay.
Oh God, just I'm getting a picture of Henry just plowing a dead body, and I'm just not enjoying myself right now. I'm gonna need a shower. Anyway, but yeah, he would have sex with the dead body, and then he just threw her over a culvert onto the ground. Just like fucking nothing.
He's like, whatever.
Yeah, no joke. Like Henry and Otis, if it's true what they did, and some of it has been, you know, there was enough evidence to prove that some of these murders were for real and they actually did this stuff. But if they did what they did, Jesus fucking tap dancing Christ. These are some evil motherfuckers, man.
Right. So I learned a lesson now from you. I learned something from you. I listened to you.
You learned.
I learned it a little bit. You know what I learned? He didn't have a foot fetish, or she wouldn't have been wearing socks.
Nah. Let's get back to the movie. This is crossing over into depressing territory.
So if you killed a woman and raped her alive and dead, you'd make sure she didn't have socks so you could see her feet?
I am not answering that because someone's going to isolate that clip and put it out on the internet.
It's just a hypothetical question.
Oh my God. Anyway, moving on. Let's get to the fictional part here. Can we go back to fiction?
Anyway, Henry drives to a mall, watching women get in and out of their cars, and he ends up following one of them home and watches her as if he's going to go kill her. Yeah. But her husband comes out, so he drives away.
Yeah. So back in our PG-13 casual episode, we discussed that films
Was it PG-13 though?
Yes. No.
I was about to say.
I don't know what a PG-13 Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer would look like. It's just a 2-second scene.
I have no idea.
It's, you know what it would be? It's just that scene later when they go to buy the hot TVs in the fucking storage garage. It would just be that scene up until the part where they kill him. It's just, that's it. That's a PG-13. But back on that PG-13 casual horror episode, we discussed the films that were coming out that had to have a rating created specifically for them, you know, and it ended up being PG-13, and they moved forward with that. Well, this movie and a few others were the reason why we have an NC-17 rating. You know, at the time, this flick was just labeled an X. you know, which in the end, NC-17 didn't even help. Like PG-13 helped.
Right.
But NC-17 didn't do shit to help. That was just, they still considered it an X rating.
Right.
But this is one of the first films that kind of pushed that NC-17 label, which NC-17 is supposed to be non-pornographic adults only, is what it's supposed to be for. Which, nah, y'all.
This movie was non-porn. Well, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, really? And
there's only a little bit of sex in this movie.
And honestly,
rape. Not sex, rape.
Yeah, there's some.
There's a difference between sex and rape.
There is, dear God. I think we explained that too. But anyway, Michael Rooker actually auditioned for this film during a time when he was working as a janitor. In fact, he wore the uniform to his audition and through most of the filming in this movie.
Oh, wow.
So what you see him wearing is his janitor outfit. He removed his shirt every once in a while when he was dealing with some more bloody scenes because he only had one work shirt. But
get the man another work
I'm
shirt.
telling you, this movie was extremely low budget.
Get the man another shirt.
To tell you how low budget this is, they couldn't afford extras, right?
Yeah.
We'll talk about it, but they had family and friends playing any additional parts you see.
Oh, yeah.
And there's one scene where Becky, who we'll meet in a minute, Becky's coming out of a subway off the train. She's coming up the stairs out of the subway.
Okay.
And when she comes out, there's two dudes arguing off to the side. Those are actual people in Chicago.
Just arguing.
And they refused to move so they could shoot the scene.
Oh.
Because they were having an argument. They ain't moving.
Right.
So when she comes out, you see those two people. Those two people are really sitting there heated in an argument.
Nice. Why do I keep saying that? Oh, my God.
You and the nicest, man. I'm really
know.
scared to continue True Crime Month with you.
I like a good true crime, okay?
Oh, God. We got Dahmer next week. I don't know how you're going to deal with that.
Ooh.
And then the cannibalism started. All right, anyway.
Yummy. Anyway. So Henry ends up picking up a hitchhiker about dusk time. And she asks for a ride to the city. She has a guitar. That's important.
Yeah.
Then we meet Becky. And am I calling him Otis or Otis?
Okay, in the movie, he's called Otis. In real life, the real life character is Otis. That's how you pronounce his name.
So I should say Otis.
Yeah, say Otis.
Talking about the movie.
Yeah, when you're talking about yeah.
So we meet Becky and Otis, and they are brother and sister. Otis is there picking her up from the airport, and he's letting her live with him for a little while because she's left her abusive husband.
Right. So Becky and Otis are like Henry, loosely based on real people. Becky, whose real name was Frida Powell, who was actually Otis, sorry, because we're not talking about the movie now.
Right.
Otis Toole's niece, who this film has around the same age as Henry, and Otis, maybe a bit younger, but the real life Becky was actually 10 years old when she first met Henry, who I believe was hitting his 30s at the time.
Ew.
Yeah. He, of course, started a relationship with her because why not? Because every bad thing you could think of, Henry has done. So might as well. Because, I mean, he was a well-known child molester. He's a... I don't want to praise him, but he's the greatest drifter America has created. Like, when you think of drifter, Henry Lee Lucas. He's the epitome of the murderous drifter. He's the reason why you should be scared of the highways.
Oh my God.
But anyway, so he started the relationship, and some say he had a relationship with Otis as well, outside friendship.
Brown chicken, brown.
Exactly. Oh God, thinking about these two fucking dudes having sex is just... I did a little bit of brush up on some research on these two dudes, and just thinking about them, because they probably fucked, and it's just like, oh God, the smell.
Oh, the smell.
The fucking smell, and just the sounds. I don't even know what I don't even want to talk about it. Oh, but what's really funny is in this movie, they're both very masculine guys, they're portrayed as more masculine, but in real life, Otis had a very feminine voice. like he talked like this. Hi, my name's Otis. How are you?
Oh my gosh. What the hell?
But he was a gay prostitute through most of his teenage life. And there's not a lot is well known about Otis from like childhood through his teen years up until he meets Henry Lee Lucas. It's a little bit of a blur. There's not a lot known. But he did do prostitution and panhandled to kind of support himself. His childhood is, like I said, also a perfect combo to create a serial killer, as he had an IQ of 75, first of all. That's how he started out in life.
Okay.
And his father would routinely pass him around to his poker buddies as a sex toy when he was
That's disgusting.
about 10, I think.
That's disgusting.
But I... Oh, God.
Oh, I have a fun fact.
Oh, fun fact. It's fun fact. Is there any fun facts with this?
Oh, it's a fun fact for me.
Okay.
Well,
all right.
kind of. I don't know.
What's up?
Nothing ever happens on my birthday. They got married on my birthday.
Oh.
In 19...
Who got married?
Henry Lee Lucas and Betty Crawford.
Oh, I was going to say, Henry and Otis got married on your birthday. No. We now join these crust bums in holy matrimony.
But they got married in 1975. I was not even thought of then.
Just imagine Henry and Otis's wedding.
Is it?
Do you take
like...
this crust bum to be your lawfully wedded husband? Oh, I do. Fucking. I love you, Otis. I can't read my vows. And you read them for me.
What's a vow?
Oh, it's a vow.
Okay.
I just want to get the sucking now. It's like, oh, Christ.
Let's just get to the sucking and fucking.
Oh, God.
Dead
if you guys
alive.
think I'm doing a stereotypical voice here, maybe you think I'm going too far. I'm being a little... I mean, first of all, I'm bisexual, so no, I'm not being discriminatory. But if you think I'm being a little discriminatory and you don't like the voice I'm using, please do yourself a favor. Go to YouTube and go look up an interview with Otis Toole. I'm actually not doing a good enough job. He literally sounded like that.
Oh, gosh. Just too much.
Oh, God. So, oh, dear God. And do your research on these people, because we're not going to we're doing brief facts here about the serial killers themselves. I suggest you all do your homework and read about them. In fact, the best podcast, the podcast I listen to that I will suggest here is Last Podcast on the Left. They did a 4-part
holy shit
deep dive into Henry Lee Lucas and Otis Toole, and you guys should go listen to that. That'll tell you everything you need to know. And most of the facts I get from come from them. Right. So I guess I got to cite my sources on this one, really.
You
That's
better.
important to do.
The podcast gods are going to strike you down.
Maybe. I don't. But Tom Tolles plays Otis, and Tolles, like Rooker, is actually, like I said, very handsome compared to real life Otis. Look up a picture of Otis, now we're doing this on him. He has what I like to call rapist face. It's like if Quasimodo stood straight up and grew to 7 foot tall. That's what Otis looks like. Otis looks like an infected foot.
Okay.
That's been out in the sun too long. And it's just...
If it's a foot, would you still lick it?
No, not this foot. Are you looking up Otis Toole now?
I already looked him up.
Okay, yeah, he is. Just do yourself. Look him up. Look him up. Anyway, Tolles and McNaughton actually kind of work together on this character because, like I said, he's not Otis in real life. He's Otis in this, and he's more of a comedic idiot in this film. If we had any comedic relief, it's Otis here. That's the closest to that we will get. And he is in well, in some scenes, he's kind of that way. But Tolles was actually a former U.S. Marine and had his theatrical training more in improv comedy, not so much dramatic acting, So he uses that in this film. And we've discussed how comedy and horror are closely related in these things,
Right.
You ready to get back to the movie?
Yeah, I was just reading something that really freaked me out. So
What's
I
that?
was like, what the fuck? It says this article is very misleading.
Okay.
So I was reading the headline is, it says convicted killer's wife and half sister doubt his claims to mass slayings. So my brain assumed they're saying his wife is his half sister.
She may have been.
No, they were talking about his wife.
Is this Henry Lee Lucas?
Yeah, his wife and his half sister are saying that he couldn't have been killing during this time.
If you really do your research on Henry Lee Lucas, it wouldn't surprise me.
I know. That's why I was like,
because what's really funny is in the stories, he's always ending up like why he's traveling at first. He's always ending up at some half brother's house because he's the son of a 50 cent
he had
prostitute. He has like 40 half brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
So
that's too
mom
much.
was 50 cents.
Okay.
I was just thinking, with that stimulus, how many rounds with Viola could you get? When you're talking 50 cents, damn, you got her booked up for the whole year.
And does she get all the stimulus?
Oh, that's true.
For all those kids?
Ooh, damn.
Is there a limit?
I don't know.
I thought about that one day because I was thinking of those 18 kids and counting. Do they
That's
get
true.
18? Never mind. Anyway.
Let's get back to the movie. We're going on a weird tangent.
Anyway. So they're back at the house and Otis is giving Becky a hard time for being a stripper at one point. Henry comes in and gives Otis the guitar that his hitchhiker had to get put in the car.
And I don't know. There's a little line here that does kind of crack me up where Otis is like, oh, where did you get that? And he's like, oh, I just picked it up.
Right. So Otis and Henry are roommates. Henry says he's trying to make it to California and he offers Becky his room and he'll sleep on the couch.
Now they do say that Henry, despite his looks, was kind of a charmer.
Ew.
In the areas he was in.
What?
I'm sorry. I guess it was a different time in the 70s and the 60s and stuff where
I guess
a weepy-eyed, crusty dude.
I don't know. Did you see pictures of the wife?
Huh?
Did you see pictures of his wife?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, you should look up pictures of his wife.
Which one's his wife?
Betty. Well, in the movie, she's Becky, but in the... What the hell?
Well, Becky's dead.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
His wife's name is Betty Crawford.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Hold on, let me...
I had not seen any Betty pictures, but...
I mean, she wasn't quite a looker either.
Woo! Woo! That's one thing you'll notice is everybody is like, wow, how did these serial killers get so much tail? And I'm like, no standards.
None.
You lower your standards to absolute zero.
You don't have any.
Yeah, and you get whatever you get. Fuck. I think the low budget, and we've talked about this, the low budget films tend to be more creative. And a lot of the smaller stuff kind of shines brighter than a big budget blockbuster. I feel like Henry's score and sound design are just two of the things that shine above any of the other things. That score was composed by Robert McNaughton, and it's a very simple yet chilling score. I mean, when those opening credits start and the music hits, you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah, something bad.
Things just got fucking serious. All right, now, the sound design is really cool because for stuff like neck breaks, that's a styrofoam cup being crushed next to a microphone. And in
That's
one
amazing.
scene, a head is being taken off. Spoilers. We'll get to that scene. But that's a grapefruit bag being ripped and stuff next to a microphone. So a lot of good Foley work in this movie.
Foley.
Yes, look that up, everybody. That's your homework.
You don't have to do homework. Don't listen to him. Don't look at me like that.
You want to go for a ride?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I'm driving.
Oh, no. I'm still stuck on Henry and Otis's wedding.
And I was just thinking, if I was driving to kill you, I'll kill us both. I'll kill us both right now.
Oh,
anyway,
God.
Henry. Anyway, can't talk. So Henry's doing pest control and getting paid cash by some mob-looking guy. He then goes to the woman's house that he had followed home from the mall.
Uh-huh.
And somehow talks her into letting him into the house. Like, as this bug inspector or what, or bug killer or whatever.
The bug inspector.
That's not what I meant.
I come to inspect your bugs.
That's not what I meant.
My name's Henry Lee Lucas. I'm here to inspect your bugs.
I'm sleepy. Then we see her strangled and dead on her couch,
Ooh,
watching cartoons.
That took a serious turn.
It did. I mean, she had to die.
That's true. And I do like the shot where we're kind of like behind. So it kind of looks like she's just sleeping, watching TV.
Right.
And then it pans over and she's been burnt with cigarettes and strangled to death. So it's like, oh, all right then.
She's just watching cartoons.
Huh.
Anyway, Otis works at a gas station where they do car inspections, question mark. Did they do that back in the day?
Maybe. What it is, I think it's a full service gas station. Have you ever been to one of those?
No.
I think up north, there's some areas that you can't pump your own gas.
Yeah, I did know that.
And basically, it's just a gas station attendant. And usually those guys would check your oil, check your tire pressure, and do all that for you.
That's really funny because the old lady's like, yeah, can you check this? He like looks at the engine and closes it. He's like, it's good.
It's good.
She's like, can you check the tire? He's like, looks at it. It's good.
It's good too.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, a man comes to the gas station and wants to know if he has some stuff for him. This is not a man. This is a child. I'm sorry. He was a teenage boy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So they plan to meet up the next day.
So this is it's pretty much how Henry and Otis operated when they were drifting, only they're stationary here. They would do odd jobs and stuff and preying on people's kindness most of the times. There is a story about how Becky, Henry, and you'll notice I intro these little things as stories.
Right.
Because this comes from Henry. And I don't know if it's bullshit or not. And a lot of these people don't know if it's bullshit or not. So we got to kind of take it with a grain of salt. Take everything you read that comes out of Henry's mouth,
right,
with a grain of salt. But there is a story about how Becky, Henry, and Otis stopped to get water for their car's radiator as they were drifting. The woman they found got them water, but also, her Southern kindness cooked. It kicked out and she cooked them breakfast and let them stay a bit before they headed out. This resulted in Henry and Otis brutally raping and then killing the poor lady in her own home.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for not saying nice. I was waiting for it. I was
no.
Oh God, this is disturbing. We're getting canceled. One thing this film doesn't go into, thankfully, is, like I said, Henry's penchant for necrophilia. He'd rape and kill, but then he'd have sex with the dead bodies. Or God damn it, so he claimed to do
so he
this.
claimed.
Every one of his victims, he said, to the point where another story he had was that he couldn't achieve arousal through normal sex.
That's probably true.
Yeah, and because of the corpse raping, I don't. You fuck too many corpses and you can't go back. I don't know.
Yes.
Once you go dead, you never lay in a bed. I don't.
But a lot of serial killers have said that, like, the thought of blood, the thought of killing, and all of that, it brings them arousal.
Right. Like he even said that, and like I said, grain of salt, people. But he even said that, like he would. Becky was always begging for it and stuff like that, but he would he'd get mad and go out and kill and have sex with a dead body and then come back. It's like,
Ew.
Because he's a gentleman? I don't know what that is.
Ew.
But he was always making up shit to kind of make him look better than he was. Because at one point, this one lady, I believe that she was shacking up with, she caught him. She found out that he was molesting her 11-year-old daughter. Well, and this is from his mouth. He said he never did it. He didn't do that. And, she said, I'm going to tell everybody how you are and stuff like that. And a lot of these stories like this come from a book written by, I believe, a Christian writer. Because at one point in his life, Henry Lee Lucas was the poster child for reform. Like, he's saved again. He's a born-again Christian and stuff like that.
Oh, my God.
As he pulled that card. All of them pull this card when they get into prison. So he was the poster child for this. And the book that guy wrote, first of all, that guy is obsessed with the sexual details of the crimes because he goes way too into things.
Maybe he was getting some arousal from
I think
it too.
He was. But he mentions, how like he almost takes a sympathetic turn with Henry. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I do. You know what I mean? I don't really have much sympathy for the real Henry Lee Lucas.
Oh, no.
He's a crust bum. He was a piece of shit.
Crust bum. I'm tired of you saying crust. That sounds so gross.
Because he was crusty. That's the one word I keep arriving to. Because I'm like, I don't know if he smelled. I don't know if he was really dirty per se. But I think he was just crusty. Just crust. But the thing is, like Henry Lee Lucas he was one of these guys where, yeah, you do hear about his childhood and you're like, God, that sucks. But you're also kind of like, you know what? I think the world would have been better if he just got shot in the head at some point when he was younger. Like maybe if that ruler went all the way through into his brain.
Oh my God.
But anyway.
All the way through. Oh my God. And I thought I was saying bad things.
There's no sympathy here. I mean, these guys.
I know.
Yeah.
I understand.
Can you name one serial killer that you feel a legitimate sympathy for? I do have one.
I don't know.
No, none of them.
I don't know.
I think mine is Eileen Wuornos, and I'll let everybody kind of like look her up and stuff like that.
Right.
Again, actions. These people have choices.
Right.
That's my thing.
Anyway,
back to the movie.
So Becky is gutting a fish and asks Otis where he met Henry. He said he met him in prison and she wants to know what he did. And she made this offhand joke about Henry killing his mom. And Otis is like, well, yeah, actually.
Yeah, he actually did that.
And she was like, no, really, what did he do? He robbed some banks or something like that. And he was like, no, you were right the first time. And she was like, what? And he was like, yeah, with a baseball bat. But he's like, don't tell him I told you. Don't tell him I told you.
One of the things about this movie is really like if you sit down and just kind of write it down on paper, it's very boring.
Very.
But for some reason, the performances and just the way the scenes are laid out and stuff, it makes it so good. It's
so much better.
Yeah. Henry Lee Lucas really did kill his mother in real life.
For real life.
For real. Only not with a baseball bat. Or a gun, as he slips up later and says. His mother was a terrible piece of shit who never really even wanted a boy, and at one point even dressed Henry up as a girl, complete with long hair in locks, and sent him to school that way, which, as I said earlier, that's the one day Henry came to school clean. Classmate. His mother would make Henry and his father watch her have sex with her Johns over and over again, and if they refused, a violent beating would occur. She would beat them for not watching.
That's really gross.
Yeah. Anyway, once Henry had found a woman who was going to marry him, yes, like we said, even a crusty one-eyed drifter can find love. So can you, get out there. Get on that horse. But...
So all I have to do is lose an eye and be crusty?
Yeah, just stop taking showers. Apparently it attracts...
Well, the flies?
Okay, it attracts the ones you don't want.
Oh, okay.
This is probably someone's second cousin who fucked her dad or something. I don't know. But Henry's mother hated this, and when she found out just like the fucking donkey, she wanted to ruin it. She found out Henry was getting close to happiness. So she knocked his bride-to-be out, which caused her to call off the wedding the next day. In his rage, he had a huge fight with his mom, and he claimed to have pulled a knife and punched her with it, which nicked an artery. Now Henry ran off to hide.
Wait, he punched her with it? Wouldn't that just be stabbing?
These are Henry's stories. I don't know. Nobody truly knows. This is the thing about Henry Lee Lucas, is the lies. What he would do is he would mix lies with truth a lot.
Right.
To the point where it's like, nobody could tell whether he was lying or not. He was good at it. Like, they would try to trick him with polygraph tests. He'd pass them every time.
Oh, no.
They could not catch him in a lie because he was just so fucking manipulative and so good. They could not trip him up on a polygraph. But because basically, like I said, you know, if you're taking a polygraph test, and please don't murder someone and tell them I gave you advice. If you're taking a polygraph test, and this is why a lot of those are not admissible in court, but if you take a polygraph test and you just lie the entire time, and you believe your lies.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. If you just do that, you'll be fine.
Well, because it's not about like, if you know anything about polygraph tests, it's all about heart rate, heart rhythm, sweat, and stuff like that, like your body's function.
Yeah.
So if you are good at lying,
which Henry was,
then you can just pass one because you're not nervous.
Right.
You're like, oh no, this is the truth. You may have like talked yourself into the truth.
Yeah. So basically,
or to believe it's the truth.
Right. So basically, Henry's story is he didn't know he had the knife in his hand when he punched her.
Oh, okay.
And he nicked an artery or something, and basically he ran off to hide for a little bit. Although he said he ran off to wait, and then he was going to go back and check. But there's so many stories. And basically, long story short, his mother bled out slowly on the floor.
Nice.
And that's, that was the end of the 50. God, you were the nicest tonight. That was the end of the 50-cent hooker known as Viola. And that's how he went to prison the first time. Only serving, I think, 5 years on a 10-year sentence for killing his own mother. And his entire family hated that bitch.
So they were happy?
They fucking hated her. Yes. Although they would use it against him when they got tired of him hanging out at their house. Like, well, you killed Viola, and I don't think that's right. You need to go on.
Get the fuck out of my house.
But he was released due to overcrowding at the time.
Oh my God.
Well, who were they keeping in?
Those damn drug dealers.
Luckily, Henry's father left this earth years before this, when one night he got drunk and just rolled out into the snow, fell asleep, and froze to death.
Nice.
So 10-1, he killed himself. He was just like, fuck this.
I'm out.
Oh, God.
Oh, he rolled out because he was in a cart.
Yeah.
Maybe he got stuck and couldn't get back inside.
No, they said he got off his cart, laid out in the snow, and just died.
Maybe he rolled out there.
I don't know. If you're forced to watch your wife fuck for 50 cents, like over and over again, I think, I'd probably roll out there and die. What is the John's thought on that process? Like, you come in, you're like, I had to pay my 50 cents at it. Well, there's a kid here with a weepy eye and a man on a cart. Are they joining? What is
joining?
This?
She was like, don't worry about them. Those are my R-word children.
Jesus. They have to watch. It's part of their education. They gotta watch. I don't get off unless the one with no legs doesn't enjoy it.
Oh my.
Jesus Christ.
So, like,
only don't come that I can't stand to see a man happy.
Oh, gross. Do you think they like tipped extra
I don't know.
for the people watching?
I don't know. All right, Well, here's a nickel for you, young guy. Correct that. Just staring off into the distance, eh? All right. All right. I'm gonna hit the old dusty trail here.
What if it was like Forrest Gump? Like, so after they're done, Henry starts going,
Only it's not as good as that. It's just. That's what I imagine. Viola sex noises were.
Oh, gross.
Don't go yet.
Don't go yet.
Shoot it in the bucket.
Oh my gosh.
Make the one with no eye watch. Wait, with his good eye? I'm confused.
Anyway. What is happening?
Okay, anyway. So yes, I would roll out into the snow and go to sleep too. But it was prison where Henry met Otis and the two would become fast friends. And I just imagine that meeting.
Oh yeah.
My name's Henry and I really like killing. And my name's Otis. I love killing too. Did we just become best friends? I can't read.
Or were they cellmates and Henry just fucked Otis and he liked it?
Oh God.
Didn't think about that, did you?
Oh, I learned a thing from my mother.
She taught me how to do this. I was only 5.
Okay,
Oh
but
my
make
God.
sure you shoot in the corner.
Oh my gosh.
What is going on? What is happening?
I have no clue.
Where have we crossed?
I'm so confused.
We are in a terrible territory.
So anyway.
Back to the movie. Let's get to the movie.
So they all have dinner and then Otis leaves. So Becky and Henry start talking and playing cards. And of course, dumbass Becky starts asking Henry about his family.
Which I find Becky the most heartbreaking character in any movie I've seen.
Oh my gosh.
Jesus.
So they share their trauma stories about their dads. And I don't go into detail on my notes, but I'll tell you one of the things that she says. She says that she was afraid that her dad was going to get her pregnant.
Yes. One of the things that are really kind of crazy is like Henry's half-ass listening.
Right.
Like, because then she's like, so I had to get out there and get away. And he's like, after she told this whole story, oh, so you and your daddy didn't get along? No, dude.
Not really.
Fucking hear what I said.
But he was like going back in his mind.
Oh, God.
He was like stewing on all this shit in his past.
And man, again, Michael Rooker and everybody in this movie, there's not a lot of dialogue really. And so there's these scenes where like you have more of their reactions to what's going around them and they really have to actually act.
Right.
And he does a fantastic fucking job.
I agree.
It's creepy as shit.
So then she just up and asked him if he killed his mom. And he says his mom was a whore. She would beat him when he wouldn't watch her fuck random dudes and made him wear a dress, like you said. And Becky says that she feels like she knows him and that she's known him for a long time.
Now you go to school and make me proud, Henrietta. Oh, fuck. So, which I'm sorry. If when we had first met and I went into a story like this, I don't think you would ever have fallen in love with me.
I'd have some questions.
Now, now the real life Becky was no smarter than Otis. In fact,
I wouldn't think so. She was still prepubescent.
She was very, but she was also kind of, the R word.
You almost said.
Yes, she was a Mr. Potato Head. But
what? You said Mr.?
Oh shit, a potato head. No, that's an Irish slur. Anyway, moving on.
Everything is fucked.
Becky wasn't very bright, Mrs. Gump. But anyway, so she was no smarter than Otis, and of course was also very young. So, that's also an issue. Also, if you're familiar with Henry Lee Lucas, you'll know that while we do get a lot of stories from him, and we've mentioned this already, most of them are all just fucking stories. We really don't know to this day the legitimate history of his crimes and stuff. I mean, at one point he was confessing to hundreds of murders, and he even went so far to claim Otis and him were killing for a cannibalistic devil cult known as the Hands of Death.
Oh, delicious.
Yes. But what's cool here is Henry can't keep track of how he killed his mom. And I like this little detail in this movie.
Right.
In this universe. He tells Otis that he got her with a baseball bat. And then he tells Becky a knife. And then at the end of his story, he says a gun. It keeps changing. And in my mind, the Henry in this movie, is he maybe killing his mother over and over again? And he just really doesn't remember how he killed her at this point? Kind of interesting to me.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, I do think McNaughton and Richard Fire, who helped write this, I think they try their best to kind of make Henry have more of a motive. And more of this. He has this really weird that the real Henry did not have. He has a really weird moral compass, and we'll talk about it as we go. He has a very weird moral compass.
Yes. It's very, very strange. So Becky gets a job as a shampoo girl, and Otis asks her if she likes it better than dancing naked. Henry is very intrigued with this, and please tell me why, when she gets a new shirt, she changes in front of them and doesn't just go to the other room.
I think that part, it's part of her heartbreaking character, because she's so proud of this fucking t-shirt.
Right.
Like, she's so proud of it, so she can't wait to go change in the other room. She just does it there
right.
so she can show it off.
Well, Otis tells her to put it on.
Yeah, yeah.
She's like, okay, well, you got to turn around. I'm like, why didn't you just go in the other room? The room that you got the shirt from.
Well, Otis is trying to get him some Becky through this whole thing. Which, oh, God.
Right.
We'll get to it.
Right. And we see the, I don't know if you mentioned it or not, but we see Henry's IQ here because he's like, what does it say? And all it says is I Heart Chicago.
Yeah, in real life, Henry could not read. He never learned to read.
What does it say? And she doesn't question it at all. She's like,
somehow he was in school, though, which makes you think about the Virginia school system at the time was probably, I mean, a teacher threw a ruler.
Yeah, they didn't care.
Yeah, so that kind of, ooh.
So then Otis tries to kiss Becky, but Henry grabs him and gets onto him. That's your sister.
Yeah, like I said, a weird moral compass. That's your sister. Now let's go break some hookers' necks. Now, one thing you might notice about the film is that not one single policeman is seen through the entire runtime. McNaughton wanted to portray a feeling of like a world without law and order, which is kind of how these real killers kind of lived for the most part.
Right.
While it's not known the exact number of people Henry killed, he did avoid the police by drifting. See, at the time, police districts and stations in other states and even counties did not talk to each other. They did not communicate.
Right.
So his MO was basically kill and hit the road and keep moving. So that's one of the more terrifying aspects of all this is how America's highways are basically killing fields to this day still. So many unsolved murders along America's highways because Henry and Otis weren't the only ones doing these things.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah. And most serial killers are caught because they usually stay in the same area and they usually slip up. But with an unorganized drifter killer, as Henry is, and Otis, you never know where they would strike, and they would do it differently each time.
Yeah, we'll go into that.
Yeah. In most cases, Otis and Henry would just roll down the highways sometimes looking for broken down motorists who they would stop, get out, act like they were helping, right?
Oh,
look at the engine. And Henry himself even said he would always look at the engine. And even if he knew it could be fixed easy, he'd tell the motorist that the engine had just had it and they better give him a ride to a payphone.
Oh, Gross.
Of course, they would not arrive to a payphone.
Right.
Which, when you think about it, that has to be a fucking terrifying moment.
Well, yeah.
You just pass by a rest stop or something, and you're in these fuckers' cars, and you're like, oh,
Even
no.
if you get to the rest stop,
like,
though.
this is it.
I mean, how far do you get? I'm sure they didn't take them that far.
Not very far, no.
No. You're like, what the fuck?
I hope no one's on a road trip right now. They're listening. They're like, oh, fuck. I'm getting spooked.
I'm spooked.
Don't get spooked. Just pay 50 cents. Viola will take care of you.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, the guys end up going out and picking up sex workers. They're all doing their own thing in the car. And Henry ends up killing his girl. And when the other girl starts to freak out, he kills her too. And Otis just watches from the other side of the car.
Yeah.
Henry pulls them out of the car, leaves them in the alleyway, and Otis is super freaked out. But they end up getting fries and burgers and eating in silence.
Which those quick cuts, when it goes from like something really disturbing to something just normal, is great. And you know, killing street workers makes for hungry work. So
even though they just had fish,
a man can work up an appetite breaking necks. So one thing the crew did to save money, as I said, was having crew members play parts in the film.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the first of the murdered prostitutes here is played by Mary DeMoss, a close friend of McNaughton. She played 3 different murder victims in this. One, the woman in the ditch at the beginning, the one with the bottle in her face, and of course this part here.
Nice.
But
I mean, it's cool to have 3 roles. Do you get paid? No, they didn't pay her.
Yeah,
probably.
you're just really close to a disturbing nice. Like, you have 2 nices. Like, nice. She played 3 roles and nice. He fucked the dead body.
I didn't mean to.
Go, Henry. Go for broke, man.
Nothing is shocking me, okay?
I bet Viola's pussy shock you.
I don't want to see that train wreck. Okay.
50 cents. All right, anyway. But also family and friends played victims and extras through this whole thing. But at this point in the film, Otis has decided he's with Henry forever and wants to kill.
Kill.
Will you be my my drifter boyfriend?
Will you be my Bonnie?
Oh, God.
You're like, what the fuck?
Oh, God.
So back at the house, Henry is asking Otis if he ever killed someone, and Otis said he only did it because he had no choice. And Henry goes into this deep thing about looking at the world, and it's either you or them, blah, blah, blah. He's not that deep, but
No.
whatever. And then there's this weird part now where Otis kicks the TV for whatever reason and breaks it. So they have to go to like an off-grid TV guy, like a
he's selling black market.
black market. That's
probably
what it was.
stolen equipment and shit like that, bootleg stuff, you know.
Right. And they argue back and forth about a $50 TV and end up killing the guy. They smash a TV onto his head and plug it in and electrocute him.
Which little lines that this guy's rattling off as he insults them. He's like, here, plug it in there. I see you took some college there. Okay. Like, he's just insulting them left and right. A lot of the scene feels kind of oddly out of place.
Right.
Because of how humorous it is, at least to me. I mean, it's a ridiculous setup. We're in what looks like a storage locker, and this guy is selling hot TV sets out of here. This actor actually improvised all the jokes that he does during this scene, where he's insulting them and stuff like that. He improvised all those.
Nice.
And the scene.
Why do I keep saying that?
Damn, you and your nicest. But the scene where they smashed that TV over his head was actually filmed in reverse. So that's actually Rooker taking a fake TV set off his head, and then they play it, you know.
Nice. Oh my God, I need to shut the fuck up. Anyway, so my question though is with this scene and the kicking the TV and stuff, it felt very out of place to me. But did they just set up this scene to show that where they got this camcorder from?
Uh-huh.
That's it?
For the most part, yes.
Because, like, what?
Well, because, I mean, I don't
Why
know.
didn't he need to smash the
It's
TV?
It's artsy. Don't ask questions. Just go with it.
Is it, though?
Just go with it.
Okay.
I'll explain, like, why this has a specific feel. Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, has a very unique feel to it.
Right.
That is all its own.
So they go home with a TV and a camcorder, and they are dancing and recording, and Becky ends up kissing Henry, and Henry's getting tired of dancing, and Becky doesn't want to be recorded anymore, but Otis just won't let up.
He's like, keep going.
Keep going. I'm like, oh my God. I'm
Yeah,
like, leave them alone.
And this whole scene was also improvised by the three main cast members, and is just one of many creepy fucking scenes that seem to drag on.
Yes.
And it feels very uncomfortable.
Yes.
That's the power of this movie. You know, by the end of it, you're going to feel a need for a shower.
Right.
Like, this movie will make you feel gross.
Yeah, I agree.
And like I said, you know, it's not adhering very closely to the true story, which is fine, because I think this movie in a whole captures the spirit of the whole thing, of who Henry was and who Otis was and stuff like that. It captures, I don't know, it makes you feel the true story. It's very hard to explain. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So Otis goes and sells weed to the kid from the gas station. He puts his hand on the kid's leg. The kid punches him in the nose and runs off. Then back at the house, Henry is helping him with his nose, and Otis says that he wants to kill that kid, and Henry tells him he can't because the cops will find him.
Yeah, and this is pretty much the only scene that alludes to Otis, or, you know, Otis being gay.
Yeah.
Know, which he was gay in real life, Otis Toole. It is kind of based on a real story a little bit. It's kind of close to this story. At one point, Otis propositioned a young man for sex, and the guy refused and told Otis to take a shower. He basically was like, "You're too gross." And Henry said that got him beaten to death by an angry Otis Toole.
Oh, no.
So imagine being like, "I don't want to fuck you, man. You're too dirty," and then you get beat to death.
Right. Wait a second. You said he told him that he got beat to death? How did the dead guy tell somebody that he got beat to death?
Henry had said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was like,
again, all these stories come from Henry.
That's right. So Otis says that he wants to kill someone, so Henry suggests they go for a ride.
Dun, dun, dun.
They ride around, and Henry shows Otis that he has a gun and said it's really easy to get a gun.
I love that. Where'd you get a gun from? I don't know. I just made a call. It's really easy to get anybody can get a gun,
Anybody
Otis.
can. He's like, what the fuck?
I was like, well, that's fucking true.
So they flag down a car and act like they're having car trouble. The guy gets out of the car to help them, and Otis just straight up shoots him like 4 times, and then they leave him there.
I was like, there you go. Now you killed someone. How do you feel?
Right.
Feel good?
But like Otis doesn't even take like a pause. He just fucking starts shooting.
Yeah.
Like, what? Could you at least...
And McNaughton's goal of this movie was to kind of make the monsters be like normal people. And I think, honestly, that's another reason. He's never said this, but I think that's another reason why he strayed away from the true story.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you put the real life Otis and Henry in a movie and just did it to their real life, those dudes were in... They're monsters. They're like real life monsters. And I think it's like, okay, well, I could definitely tell these guys coming from no... Like, I could see Henry and Otis and realize, hey, these are fuckers. These are fucking murderers. I'm staying away from them. But, you know, you see these two guys in 1986. I mean, they're not terrible looking. They're just normal dudes. They're not great looking, but you know what I mean?
Right.
They just look like normal dudes. So, yeah. So what McNaughton, I think, was getting at was that, like, the horror and the real monsters could be the everyday individual.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think that's what he was.
They live among us.
Yes.
So Otis and Henry have a killing lesson while they're watching some bums fight in the woods. And Henry tells...
I love your reaction to this scene. You're like, what the fuck is this?
Well, because I was like, are they killing Like,
I
is
think
there
this
more
was
killers
like some
that they're
homeless
watching?
people mugging another homeless person for a sandwich. Because you see one of the guys get up and he has a sandwich all of a sudden.
Maybe, I don't know. But they're having a killing lesson. Henry tells Otis that they cannot create a pattern or they will get caught. Very smart. He also says that they need to keep moving so no one catches up to them. Even smarter.
Uh-huh.
And Otis wants to leave with Henry, but says he can't because of his PO.
Now, in real life, as I said, Henry really did understand how this worked, that the whole keep moving and not have a pattern was important to help him avoid capture. You may be wondering, how did a one-eyed crust bum gain this knowledge? Well, when he was at a state hospital for criminals, they would leave him in the record room most of the time. And he would read all these cases and notice how these guys got caught. That's how he kind of put it together. These people aren't, these police stations aren't talking to each other. As long as you keep moving, you could keep killing.
Right.
And stuff like that. And I'm sorry, but the fucking idiots who were just like, well, we're just going to leave you in this room full of info about how to kill better.
Wait, I thought
Take it easy, Henry.
Wait. I thought he couldn't read.
Oh, I think we just discovered another one of Henry's stories.
Oh.
Holy shit, dude. I'm telling you,
Oh.
you guys have got to go down a rabbit hole of Henry Lee Lucas because you will read all these fucking stories and we just got snapped into one.
I wonder though, he probably did learn some things from like the other prisoners and stuff.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, cause there had to have been like other murderers and shit in there.
That's true.
So he probably heard things, but he wanted to sound smart. So he said, I read it in the library or whatever. Like,
maybe, yeah.
You don't know how to read.
And you also got to remember, while he's like confessing and telling all these stories, they're giving him cigarette after cigarette, coffee pot after coffee.
Yeah.
And fucking like steaks and milkshakes. And he's having a good time. Like,
fuck yeah.
So of course he's confessing to everything. I would.
How about you give me a TV and I'll tell you some more.
Like, I was even there. January 6th. I was there.
Just come up
Henry
with a
Lee
date.
Lucas. Led the riots.
On it. I pissed on the grave.
That's exactly what happened, actually. A bunch of Henry Lee Lucases invaded our capital.
Oh my God. Oh my... Ooh.
Trump 2020. I don't need two eyes to see Trump as the greatest president. Oh, fuck.
And I love when they're like, you don't stand with Biden, blah, blah, blah. No, I don't worship. I don't
I've never
worship
worshipped
the
a president. That's fucking weird.
He's there to do a job. Let him do his job.
You guys are fucking weird.
Right.
Anyway, moving on.
Anyway. Henry and Otis drive somewhere, and then we watch a recording of Otis and Henry killing a family. Otis is going to have sex with the dead woman, and Henry won't let him. Moral code. Well, at least in this movie.
Yeah, at least in the fictional take. They were both taking turns on the dead body, which is weird. Because the story is that they were both fucking the corpses. Mm-hmm. Both Otis and Henry. And most of the time, Henry was killing women. Otis would kill men and stuff like that.
Right.
Every now and then. Fuck. Against stories. But like, so you got to wonder, Otis was gay? Like, what was that about? Like, was it just the dead body?
Probably.
Like, it's really weird.
I didn't think about that, but probably.
Yeah. Like, he did later in life, Otis did get with an older lady, but which, first of all, I'm sorry, madam, but if you couldn't tell Otis was gay when you got with him, something's wrong. Because that's what happened. His sexuality came to light to her. Oh. I guess it was a mystery at first. I don't know. A 7-foot tall guy who looks like Otis Toole talking like that. I'm going to think, oh, maybe, I don't know. Maybe he's just a sweet man. Maybe you just got a giant special man.
Oh my gosh.
And you're going to take him home and treat him good.
Oh my gosh. Anyway.
I like ice cream.
So Henry won't let Otis fuck the dead body. Only in the movie. Otis. I keep going back and forth. I'm sorry.
It's confusing. It's okay.
I'm sorry. Dude. The dude. Well, he ends up watching the video again in slow motion.
Which again, this shot.
Like, what the fuck?
This shot where it pans from the TV over to Otis and Henry just lounging on the couch, just relaxed as can be. Looks like they're watching The Price is Right.
Right. They're just watching
having a beer.
How they murdered a whole family.
Which, by the way, a good drinking game for this movie.
No.
Kick back a drink every time someone mentions beer or someone's drinking a beer. You'll be drunk in 2 seconds.
Go get me a beer.
This scene, though, with the murder of the family was a point in the film where some of the screening audience reportedly walked out. You know, by the end of the film, the crowd sat in shocked silence, contemplating what they just fucking saw.
Well, they did a home invasion.
Yeah. Well, no, the entire movie. The ones that were left were just like, oh, God, what have I done? And I like it. That it's like, we don't actually see it in real time. We see it from the camera's point of view.
Right.
And it's like, if it makes us feel complicit, you know what I mean? Like we're voyeurs. Because we're basically sitting here watching it along with Henry and Otis.
Yes.
Yeah. So I like how that works.
I did like that scene too. I mean, how it was shot.
Yeah. And 1986, this is some serious violence. Like this is no laughing matter to this. In fact, to this day, this scene gives me the heebies. I don't know what it is. Because it
could happen.
Yeah, it's really scary.
Right.
Like this is really horrifying. And McNaughton wanted to bring violence back to a more serious tone with this, you know, around the mid 1980s, you know, death and violence on screen, like I said, was getting ridiculous and funny.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing had much of a punch. So, you know, you go out and you see Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. Just by judging the poster, you're like, it's probably just another stupid slasher movie. And then you see this, and it's like, whoa,
not the same.
I mean, Roger Ebert, who hates a lot of horror movies, loved this one. You know, he said, he was like, now this is a horror movie. This is good.
Because you got a lot of, well, I mean, most of it's true life horror in it.
Yeah.
So Henry's driving and Otis is recording out the window.
Uh-huh.
And they end up breaking the camcorder, and Otis is pissed. And Henry is just so fucking annoyed with him.
Yes.
And Otis ends up getting out of the car. He was like, he said something about getting a beer, and Henry's like, you can go get a beer, and just opens the door for him.
And then take a drink.
Right. So my question for this, this scene is, okay, if you saw a broken camcorder outside just laying on the ground, would you not take the tape out and watch it?
Oh, good point. But is it the same tape?
Okay, but you know there was still some kind of disturbing shit on that tape.
Oh, that's true. It's probably just Otis jerking off.
Okay. That's
it's all for you, Henry. It's all for you. Oh, God. I need to watch a cartoon after this. I am like, just imagining Drifter Dick. And I need to move on.
Drifter Dick?
I need to go. Oh, God. I need to throw up. I grossed myself out.
That's awesome.
Jesus. Oh, just like I said, I imagine you could recreate the smell of that whole thing just by taking chicken skin, cigarette butts, and ass sweat and combining it in, you know, with a little bit of leather and then letting it sit out in the sun to ferment. That's crusty drifter smell. That's what that is.
Ew.
Or just like, I don't know. You know when you had the Taco Bell farts?
Yeah.
Like what I want you to do is just get up real fast and smell whatever seat you're sitting on.
No, thank you.
That's Henry Lee Lucas. That's what you're smelling. That's from Beyond the Grave. Every time someone farts Taco Bell, Henry Lee Lucas gets his wings in hell. So let's talk about another story about Otis. He liked to dress as a woman. which is there's nothing wrong with that. But he would go out to bars where, of course, someone would make fun of him. At the time, that was kind of not acceptable. And he'd, in Henry's words, haul off and hit the guy.
Okay.
But you just imagine the 7-foot cross-dressing gay man just walking down like through the bars. Somebody hit me. Come on. Somebody make fun of me.
Just do it.
I'll fucking fuck you up.
I ain't doing it.
Like, Jesus
I ain't.
Christ. 7 foot tall, this guy. And there's stories about how his sisters, when he was growing up, Otis's sisters would dress him up as a woman all the time. They just would constantly do that until at one point he hit 6'5" and they were like, "Oh, he's a giant monster. We can't do this no more.
He doesn't fit in these women's clothes anymore."
Right. And then you got to wonder, where did he get his dresses in the 80s or the 50s and 60s actually, and stuff? Where did he get these dresses?
I don't know. They probably would be like long dresses.
Oh, maybe.
Or longer dresses on a woman.
Like a skirt on Otis. You think he
I
had
wasn't
nice
thinking
legs?
Skirt, but okay.
He had nice legs. You'd have to have nice legs for.
They were probably dry and crusty.
Oh yeah, he's crusty. Oh, God.
Did he have nice legs? No, you were trying to sexualize him.
I'm trying to make it better somehow.
I don't think so.
This is Otis from beyond the grave. It wasn't good. It didn't look good. Just keep moving. Get through the movie. These people don't want to hear you.
They're so tired of it.
Oh, God. Oh, by the way, that sound design and score, the audio was mixed at this place owned and operated by Christians. And McNaughton said he was like, they were quite shocked when they saw the finished product.
Oh, I'm sure. So Henry and Becky are at the house playing cards, and Becky says she wants to go back home and that she quit her job.
Yeah.
She asked Henry to come with her, and he says he needs to think about it. So they decide to go out to dinner.
Yeah.
because he kind of wants to go with her because he needs to leave this town that they're in anyway. Yeah. Oh, Chicago. This town they're in. He needs to leave Chicago. Yeah. But then he's got to kill people. And she doesn't know he's got to kill people.
I mean, he's got things to do. He's a very busy important person.
And she's just over here like, paint me like one of your French girls. What?
I love him.
Yes, she just looks at him like,
I know.
She's so in love with him.
It's
like, really is.
Oh, you poor lady. Jesus. In real life, these three weren't stationary at all, and they moved around quite a bit. At one point, Otis separated from the two and went to Florida, and I believe they ended up somewhere in, I don't remember, but Otis went to Jacksonville, Florida. Which
is he the Florida man?
Is he
the one that all the stories?
Florida man.
All the stories are about.
Not a funny story, but Otis was Otis did eventually confess to the killing of John Walsh's son, Adam Walsh.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But the thing is, and they pinned it on him. He was it was finally settled that Otis Toole ended up being the real killer.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem was, and you see this on John Walsh's face, I don't think he believes that, because Otis did confess. He told him what he did. He took him on and cut his head off and stuff like that. But then he recanted later on. Same thing Henry did. Otis was confessing to stuff too to get special treatment.
Right.
So I don't think John Walsh actually believes that, which is kind of disturbing. He just kind of has to say it now.
Right.
Because that's what the accepted narrative is.
So my question is...
And by the way, John Walsh, if nobody's familiar, some of our younger listeners probably have no idea who that is. Host of America's Most Wanted, which was a very huge true crime show back in the day.
Oh, we watched that every night. Or every time it came on.
Religiously.
So my question is, was anybody safe from killings, or did they just kill anybody and everybody?
Okay, well, Henry did have Henry made it a point to stress that he never killed black people, black
Okay.
women, which is really weird that he would stress that. I think that makes him a racist. I'm not quite sure. I don't know if that
okay.
makes him a racist or not. But like, but he only killed mostly women, white
Right.
women. That was his thing. Otis was just kind of anybody and everybody.
He's like,
Yeah, he killed men, he killed women.
you're in front of me, I'm killing you.
Yeah, he just kind of liked killing, but they didn't have an MO.
They
They
I
didn't have
understand
a specific,
that.
a
Right.
specific person. They didn't have a specific look, really.
Right.
They didn't have a specific area, so it was really hard to pin these up. And who knows? Otis and Henry may have killed into the hundreds.
Ugh.
We'll never really know.
No, we won't. Which is okay, I guess. Just blame every single missing person on them.
Hey, there you go. I mean, he's dead now. They're both dead, thankfully. So, good times.
Maybe their ghosts are killing people, though.
I don't know. And some say, on a cold night on the highway, you can still hear Henry fucking Otis.
Or you can smell them coming.
Oh God! You said you could smell them coming, and I just said they were fucking. Oh God! This is it. I'm gonna throw up. I'm gonna throw up on the microphone.
Don't throw up on the computer. It's expensive.
Back it up into the dick, Otis.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's probably smelled like Funyuns and ketchup. Can we move on?
Yes.
Oh God.
So when Becky and Henry get back home, Otis is passed out and he's watching the tapes again. Becky ends up pulling Henry into her room, and she starts to undress, and she starts to kind of undress him, but Otis interrupts them.
God damn it, Otis.
And-
Otis.
Otis, whatever.
Yeah, what the fuck ever.
And Henry's freaked out and says he needs to go get some cigarettes. What we have noticed is when he gets close to sexual acts, just in this movie, he gets really nervous.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know what to
like
do.
That. I do like that about like I said, this movie we're giving it a pass. We give Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer a huge pass by not sticking to the real life Henry Lee Lucas. But I do love this character.
Mm-hmm.
A little I don't know, would you call it a tick? It's just something he has where it seems to send him off.
I think it's PTSD is what it is.
Sets him off. Sex sets him off in this movie. Because you'll notice, besides the killings we see and the times we see him, like you said, getting close to having sex, he does. It gets uncomfortable for him.
Right.
And he kind of starts snapping.
Mm-hmm. I think it's just PTSD from watching his mom fuck so many people.
Yeah, true. I mean, I like that. I do like them, creating their own character with this character. But at the same time,
they make you sympathize with him in this movie.
They do. And it's very weird after studying Henry Lee Lucas and then watching this movie where they're making you feel for him.
Yeah.
A little bit. You feel a little bit, which makes the ending even more of a gut punch.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh God. But anyway,
I mean, I didn't expect anything less.
True. But at the same time,
or anything more.
I mean, no one's going to ride off into the sunset in these types of movies.
Oh my goodness.
You may notice in this, though, another character completely is the city of Chicago. I mean, you got those neon lights, you got the back alleyways, and that's because John McNaughton actually grew up on the rough streets of Chicago. He grew up around all this nasty shit and drug dealings and all sorts of stuff.
Mm.
And that fucking the set pieces, man, that apartment that they live in, you can feel the mold.
Oh yeah.
You can smell the smells.
You know what I really liked about this?
What?
Was this apartment was so simple. They didn't have a lot of things in this apartment. And it really it felt genuine.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Because they didn't have very good at jobs. They didn't work very much. So they didn't have a lot of money to have a lot of things.
And that's what's cool about this movie and most of our movies this month.
Mm-hmm.
I picked these for a reason, is they're not so polished.
Right.
Like there's a grime and a dirty feel to them. And I think that's right. I think that's what you would want.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you compare Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, even though it's not sticking to the facts very much, compare it to that Zac Efron movie about Ted Bundy.
Ugh.
And you can see the problem. You know, they don't even go into
sure.
Ted Bundy's crimes, really. They just kind of allude to it. And that's an issue.
They glorified him.
Yes, because when you don't go into these monsters' crimes and actually show them what they've done,
Mm-hmm.
and Henry, they didn't even show him killing, really.
I mean, a couple times.
Yeah,
but...
they just show the aftermath, which is fine. I mean, you can go and look up crime scene photos right now
right.
and see the dead body. So that's not beyond the realm of reality. But like with that Zac Efron movie about Ted Bundy, it's so polished to the point where they don't show you much of the crimes. They just kind of talk about him, and that makes him a rock star.
Right.
That makes it it makes it comparable to the biopic about Freddie Mercury.
Oh, I haven't seen that
Yeah,
one.
they polish it. It's a good one.
So Henry leaves, and when he comes back, Otis is raping Becky and trying to strangle her.
Uh-huh.
Henry runs in, and they start to fight. Otis is about to kill Henry, but Becky stabs him in the eye with a nail file.
Oh
my God. I cannot with the
Yes.
fucking eye stabbings. I can't do it.
This got you. How many eye stabbings have we seen?
I don't
There's been
know.
so many.
I don't know, but it's making me very scared. So scared.
I think you're starting to feel for eye stuff like I feel for tooth stuff.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Anything happening to your teeth in these movies, it freaks me the fuck out.
Yeah,
And yours,
that's how
I
I'm
think-
feeling about the
yeah.
eyes. Yeah. So Henry then crawls to Otis and stabs him a bunch of times. And Becky starts freaking out and wants to call the police. Henry starts yelling at her and says he needs to thank.
Yeah.
Then he grabs Otis, pulls him into the bathroom, and starts chopping his head off and cutting him into pieces.
Yes.
Cut my body into pieces. This is my last
This is a
resort.
weird fucking episode, man. This is the weirdest episode I think we've ever done.
That song goes perfect with this situation.
I was really curious at how this was going to work. A mix of true crime and movie. Like a mix of a podcast about movies and a podcast about true crime. We kind of mixed it
I
here.
think it's working.
It's really fucking weird and I love it. Like,
It's very strange.
It
and
is
my
very
mix
strange.
of being like exhausted.
yes, Brittany's very tired right now. And I think it's really doing something here.
It's my brain is like fucked. I'm
Oh
so
my
sorry. So anyway, so they chop up their friend.
Yeah.
And Henry and Becky pack their bags and leave. They stop along the way and throw the pieces of Otis's body into the river.
Yay.
Becky says that she is scared, and Henry says that they have to just keep moving.
Yeah.
But he says that they can go to his sister's ranch in California. So she agrees to do this and tells Henry that she loves him. And he's like, yeah, I love you too, I guess. He's like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, no joke. So in real life, Otis wasn't killed by Henry, of course. But the most heartbreaking character, as we've mentioned, in this whole film is fucking Becky.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the proudly showing off her I Love Chicago scene, the dance scene.
Oh, yeah. She
where
had so
she's-
much fun.
Yeah, the whole time we know she's been abused by her husband and she has a daughter somewhere. And she just seems this entire movie like she's trying to grasp onto some kind of joy and fun in her shitty life.
Right.
Like
right.
trying to make the best of whatever situation this is. Like,
And that would be like, that's heartbreaking on its own.
right.
Now let's add the serial killers on top of
Yes.
it.
Yes. Back on the MPAA for a bit. This thing was given the NC-17, like I said, or the X rating as such, but due to moral tone is what they told McNaughton. And the thing is about the MPAA, McNaughton's, has said, and he had a conversation with one of the heads at the MPAA. The same conversation many indie filmmakers have with them, where, you ask them, well, can you tell me what to cut to get a better rating?
Mm-hmm.
And they'll tell you that they aren't a censorship organization. Then no, we can't tell you what to cut. But, and this is a story I heard from Matt Stone and Trey Parker of South Park. They ran into the same excuse, when they did their low budget indie film Orgasmo. They were told that they would not be told what to cut, but flash forward years later when they were doing a South Park movie for Paramount. They were on the phone with the MPAA and the studio execs at Paramount, and immediately the studio exec asked, okay, what's some stuff we could cut out to give us a better rating? The MPA representative read an entire list of scenes that could be trimmed.
Wow.
So really, this boils down to fucking over the indie filmmakers.
Oh, yeah.
It's a scary world out there for them.
Oh,
and
yeah.
giving more favorable treatment to the big studios, with the money and stuff. So that's why we say the MPAA can go fuck itself.
Right. So here we go.
Yeah.
Yep. So they end up staying in a motel, and the next morning, Henry gets in the car and drives away. But we don't see Becky.
Dun, dun.
Until he drives somewhere, stops on the side of the road, pulls out her suitcase out of the trunk of the car, and throws it in the grass.
Which is all blood covered, so we know Becky's in that suitcase.
And he just drives away.
Yeah. Which I do enjoy this ending because this was on purpose. They made you feel like, oh, maybe he's changing his life. Because if you didn't know Henry Lee Lucas, you would think, oh, so what? He got captured, but he fell in love. Is that what got him there? Nope.
Right.
Nope.
Nope.
Nope. That's not what this character does. It really gets you in the gut because.
Yeah, and what
like,
he's done,
he
just lured her there.
Yeah.
Like, I think he would have killed her back at the apartment if he didn't need her help.
It's like he didn't give a shit. Like, if you go back and watch the scenes and stuff and look at it in a different light, it's like Henry, the character in this movie, was only mad because Otis is fucking up his killing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because he's going to get them caught. Otis is a loose cannon in this movie.
Right.
I think that's what he was pissed off about.
Yeah, for sure.
He didn't give a shit about Becky.
No, because that's the thing is, Otis raped Becky, and so Becky's automatically going to go to the police, and then all of the shit is just going to come forth.
Right.
Because they don't want the police at their door.
Yeah, no.
And so Henry's like, fuck.
So it gets you at the gut at the end because you realize, oh, fuck, he's a fucking monster. Which a lot of people love the ambiguous ending here because it doesn't exactly say Becky's dead, but she's certainly dead in a suitcase.
She did.
So Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer didn't release to very many theaters due to that rating. The multiplexes and malls wouldn't carry it. So not a lot of people really got to see this movie. Luckily, with video rentals, it went on to make millions and is a very respected film now in horror and general, just a respected film. There was a sequel, a terrible sequel that McNaughton had nothing to do with. Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer Part 2. It's really bad. Some people like it, but
did we need a second one?
It goes more into slasher territory.
Oh, okay.
Not over the top. It's still gritty and stuff. It's worth a look, but it's not very good.
Still not needed.
No. McNaughton did have an idea for a sequel. He would actually have. It would have been more about Henry's rock star fame that he enjoyed when he was captured and started confessing and stuff.
Oh, was he?
Huh?
Oh, was he rock star status?
Oh, yeah, he was very famous.
Oh, God, I hate when people do that.
Like, if you were in certain parts of Texas, you would have, you probably would have seen Henry Lee Lucas at one of these restaurants at some point when they were out looking for bodies.
Oh, my God.
People have a lot of stories about that, seeing Henry Lee Lucas.
Oh, my God.
But his idea of sequel would have followed that more, and the myth that Henry created for himself.
Right.
In real life, Henry Lee Lucas and Otis Toole were both captured and sent to prison for separate things. Lucas confessed to more than 300 murders or 600. Who the fuck?
A lot.
Yeah, there's no definite number. Mostly he confessed to these for the treatment he got. As I said, he got a nice TV in his cell. He had a big ass cell, a cell he called his office, and had a good setup while he was telling all his stories. And they would take him on the road for him to show him where a body was. And they treated him to steak and milkshakes the whole time. And he had enough coffee and cigarettes to last him a lifetime.
Wow.
In fact, I keep mentioning coffee and cigarettes. Henry Lee Lucas drank gallons of coffee a day and was smoking. So, I know. And was smoking 9 packs of cigarettes.
9?
Daily. Yeah.
You lie.
I'm not even lying. That's how they got him to confess at first. They started bringing him he hadn't had cigarettes or coffee in 10 days. And so he was jonesing. And so when they brought him this stuff, that's when he started spilling his guts because he realized, oh, they're going to bring me anything I want.
Right.
Anyway.
So he's kind of smart in that way.
Yeah. In the end, he was only charged, I think, with around 11 murders or 9. I can't remember the exact numbers. Numbers with Henry Lee Lucas is not they're not a definite thing. Because, of course, they got wise to him just confessing to whatever was brought to him. You know, he even confessed to killing, like I said, Jimmy Hoffa at one point. But a few detectives brought some fake cases they had made up. And, of course, Henry confessed to it. And over time, the number of murders and missing people slowly dwindled, and Henry recanted a lot of his confessions. It's not known how many people he actually killed, as we've stressed. We know he killed his mother, and enough evidence for the few he was charged with got him there. But one thing's for certain, Henry Lee Lucas and Otis Toole are among the most interesting and dangerous drifters of America ever produced. And luckily, they both fucking died in prison.
Luckily.
Did
they die or were they executed?
No. Henry Lee Lucas was sentenced to death.
Mm-hmm.
But George, our good friend G.W. Bush, commuted his sentence to life while also executing Carla Ray Tucker at the same time, which is kind of odd.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Anyway, George W. Bush is a piece of shit. Anyway, moving on. No, Henry Lee Lucas died of, I believe, heart failure in 2001. And Otis Toole died of cirrhosis of the liver in 1996. So he went before Henry. And they do have a recording, a very sweet recording, where Otis is... Well, I'll just recreate it here. Hi, Otis. How are they holding up?
Oh, my God.
Oh, very good. I just know wherever we get to when we die, we're going to meet up and we're going to have a good time, Henry.
What the fuck?
That's legitimately a real conversation.
What the hell?
Oh, these two loved each other. I don't know what else to say. Oh, this is a gross fucking episode. So this film, to me, does capture the spirit of Henry and Otis while also remaining a great horror movie on its own, breathing some much-needed seriousness into a genre that was getting funny at the time. But what did you think about horror?
What did I think about what?
Fucking talk. What did you think about Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer? And was this a good serial killer movie or just a good movie?
Well, first of all,
okay,
I loved it. It was awesome. And normally I only watch the movies like twice.
You're right.
And I think I watched it 4 times because I liked it so much.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. And then was it a good movie because what?
Well, was it a good serial killer movie? Like a good based on a true story? Or was it just a good movie?
I mean, it was loosely based.
Right. And we
you know
talked
what?
about
If
that.
you would have told me that, I mean, if you wouldn't have told me that this was based on a real person, great movie. I mean, it's still a great movie either way. I think.
Does it? What I'm asking is, does the shine get knocked down a little bit because it's Henry Lee Lucas was a real person?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I'm trying to understand, but no, I don't think so.
Brittany's very tired.
I am.
To me, the shine doesn't get knocked off of Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, even though it's not anywhere near the true story.
Right.
I think it's still great on its own. It's a great example of how you don't have to stick directly to facts.
Right.
You can still make a very good movie while also capturing the essence of who Henry and Otis were.
But I really like that they didn't, like we had talked about earlier, that they didn't like portray them as fucking.
It's not polished.
There you go. That's what I mean.
It's not polished at all. And I think that's the failure of some of these movies. And I picked, sad to say, I think the three best ones, which isn't, I mean, Henry is the best, but like it's not saying a lot when we get into these next movies.
Right.
And I don't think, unless someone's willing to fucking just go the extra mile and focus on the crimes while also doing the artsy thing and trying to get into the mind of a serial killer, I don't think there's going to be a decent serial killer movie.
I mean, I don't know. It's pretty decent to me.
I mean, this one. I mean, I'm talking about nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
Newer serial killer movies. But
because everything has to be fucking perfect and it doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be grimy like it's supposed to be.
Yes.
True crime is supposed to be grimy. Why have we glamorized it?
Well, you can blame the podcasts. You can blame all the stuff. True crime is very glamorized now. And I think honestly, it's our fault. I mean,
for sure.
We've shined up this shit. But in reality, I mean, this is the worst of humans. Like, this is the dark side nobody likes to talk about. But anyway, that's Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer from 1986. Now, next week, the cannibalism starts. That's right. We're heading to Milwaukee, Wisconsin to visit good old Jeffrey Dahmer. That's right. Dahmer from 2002, starring Jeremy Renner.
Nice.
Whose idea was it to cast Jeremy Renner as this? Because I mean,
don't
honestly,
know, I'm sure you'll tell me next week.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. I just feel like Jeremy Renner was not a good choice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You know what I thought?
I like this movie, but it's,
So we started watching it a little bit, and you know what I thought? He's too short.
Yeah, it kind of feels that way. We'll discuss it. But Jeffrey Dahmer was also a bodybuilder, first of all, in high school. Yeah. We need to save it for the episode, but his parents decided, our kid's just too fucking weird. And he's obsessed with animal bones and all this. Is really fucking creepy. Mm-hmm. Let's make him stronger and get him into weightlifting.
So he can kill more people.
Let's make this fucker stronger. But anyway, until next week when we learn about penises in a pot. Oh God. I am sorry about this month, everybody. But until next time when we do Dahmer, I'm Lee Evans saying thanks. Stay spooky.
And I'm Brittany. I don't remember my line.
Bum.
I don't remember my line. I'm so tired.
You gotta stay horrific now.
Oh.
Why does my Otis sound like the little lady from Poltergeist? This asshole is clean.
Anyway, stay horrific.
Deuces.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. To get a hold of us and submit your stories, fan mail, and death threats, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and nightofthehorrorfile.com. Our theme song was written and performed by John Brennan. Used with permission. Find John at shopjb.bandcamp.com and at badtechno.com. If you like what you hear, leave a good review wherever you listen to podcasts and share the show on your social media. See you next week.